My coworker kept stealing my clearly labeled lunch, so I packed her a special meal with Carolina Reaper extract. I spent every single Sunday afternoon meal prepping for the entire week because I was drowning in student loan debt and genuinely could not afford to buy lunch at work. Every container had my name written on it in thick permanent marker on the lid and both sides, but at least twice a week without fail, I would open the office fridge to find my food completely gone, and I knew exactly who was responsible. Brittany worked as a senior account manager making literally twice my salary, and she would walk past my desk after lunch licking her fingers and saying things like, "Wow, someone in this office is an amazing cook," while staring directly into my eyes with this smug little smile. I reported her to HR twice, and they told me there was nothing they could do without video evidence, even though literally everyone on our floor knew she was the lunch thief. And when I confronted her directly, she just laughed and said, "Why would I steal your little budget meals when I can afford real food?" before walking away. Every stolen lunch meant I either starved until dinner or spent $15 I absolutely did not have at the overpriced cafe downstairs. And after 3 months of this, I decided that since nobody was going to help me, I would simply help myself. My plan was simple. I would bring 2 lunches every day with a decoy in the front of the fridge, and my real food hidden in the back behind the oat milk that nobody ever touched. The first decoy was my regular chicken and rice, except I mixed an entire bottle of sriracha into every bite, and I watched Brittany eat the whole thing from across the room without even flinching, before she announced to the office that she just loved food with a little kick to it. I escalated to habanero sauce the following week, and her face turned bright red and she kept coughing between bites, but she still powered through and then complained loudly about whoever keeps bringing that overwhelming spicy smell into the workplace, as if she wasn't the one who had just inhaled my stolen food. Ghost pepper came next, and Brittany disappeared into the bathroom for a solid 30 minutes, but the very next morning my decoy container was gone again by noon, and I realized I was dealing with someone who possessed absolutely zero shame and apparently an iron stomach. That weekend I went online and spent $40 on a tiny bottle of Carolina Reaper extract that arrived with an actual warning label and a pair of rubber gloves included in the package, and I knew this was either going to solve my problem forever or get me fired. I made her absolute favorite thing that she always stole from me, my homemade mac and cheese, except this batch contained enough concentrated capsaicin to legally qualify as a weapon in some countries, and I placed it front and center in the fridge Monday morning with my name written so large you could read it from across the room. The sound that came out of Brittany at exactly 12:15 p.m. was something between a smoke detector and a wounded animal, and I spun around in my chair to witness her standing frozen in the middle of the office kitchen with cheese dripping down her chin and tears already pouring down her face. She started gasping and clawing at her throat and making these desperate wheezing sounds that made everyone on the floor stop working and stare, and our manager practically sprinted over asking if she was choking and whether he needed to call 911 while Brittany just shook her head and kept frantically fanning her open mouth. She tried to say something but only produced this horrible squeaking noise before she knocked over a chair running full speed to the bathroom, and our manager stood there looking around the kitchen completely bewildered until he spotted my Tupperware container with my name plastered all over it sitting open on the counter. He picked it up and looked over at me with total confusion, and I just shrugged while taking a bite of my real lunch that I had retrieved from behind the oat milk and said, "That's weird because I made that one extra spicy for myself since I'm trying to build up my tolerance, and I really hope whoever ate it is gonna be okay." Brittany emerged from the bathroom almost an hour later, looking like she had been through a natural disaster with her makeup completely destroyed and her lips visibly swollen, and when our manager asked her point blank if she had eaten food that clearly belonged to someone else, she just stood there opening and closing her mouth because answering honestly meant admitting to 3 months of theft in front of the entire office. She called in sick for the rest of the week, and when she finally came back the following Monday, she walked right past my desk without even glancing in my direction, and I noticed she had started bringing her own lunch in an insulated bag that she kept underneath her desk at all times. My food was never touched again.